Good morning. I'll start with a poem. In hours of weariness, sensations sweet, felt in the blood and felt along the heart, and passing even in to my purer mind with tranquil restoration. Feelings too of unremembered pleasure, such perhaps as have no slight or trivial influence on that best portion of a good man's life, his little, nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and of love. Those words are from William Wordsworth, a wonderful poem called Lines Above, composed above Tintern Abbey from 1798. So welcome to the Premier Wellness Travel Meditation Sessions, where I offer space and support to teach you how to breathe and for us to create connections and to up our vibrations. I'm Cassandra Marcella Metzger. I'm a certified yoga therapist and the founder of Premier Wellness Travel. And I'm here to guide you in the discovery of meditation and all its wonderfulness during this crazy, kind of unusual time. So each weekday at 10 o'clock, I'll be here to inspire you and to guide you for more groundedness, for more routine, for more possibility. Sorry, I said possibility, for kindness and compassion. And actually, we're going to talk specifically about compassion today. I'll be offering some tips and resources along the way. And I would ask that if you're watching this on YouTube, that you give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and that you subscribe to my channel. Every little bit helps. So today I'm starting a 2-week focus on the yamas and niyamas in yoga. Now, I call them the yoga manners because they're manners about how to treat yourself and how to treat others. You may think that yoga is really just about improving your body, and it is that, but yoga also grows your heart. Yoga means unity. And it means growth for all the parts of ourselves that bring us back to ourselves. So that doesn't just mean agility in our body, but also agility in our mind and agility in our heart. Yoga also means to yoke or to bring back together, to create a union. I like to think of it as befriending our bodies when I talk about the yoga poses when I teach yoga. In meditation, I talk about befriending our thoughts or how to befriend ourselves. But also it's about how to befriend our communities and how we move through the world. And that's what the yamas and niyamas are about. It's advanced yoga. One of my teachers used to say is anything that would bring you back closer to yourself, right? And it also embodies things that would bring you closer to others. That could mean being more at ease with vulnerability. It could mean, well, we're going to get into some of the things that it can mean. There's 5 yamas and 5 niyamas. The yamas are guidelines for how we treat others, and the niyamas are how we treat ourselves. Some other translations are that the yamas are the laws of life and how we move through the world. Mr. Iyengar used to call them ethical disciplines. Donna Fari, one of my other teachers, would call them wise characteristics. For the niyamas, which are the 5 precepts or the 5 yoga manners for how you treat yourself, sometimes they're called laws of living, sometimes they're called individual disciplines, and sometimes they're called, Donna calls them, codes for soulfully living or living soulfully. So although classically they're divided between how we treat others and how we treat ourselves, I believe that all 10 of them can sort of be for both. As you know, there are rules about how you treat others and yourself, and the ones for yourself are also how you can treat others. So on this first day, we're going to talk about the first yama, which is Ahimsa. And I like to think of it as love embraces all, which is the name of this meditation that we're going to be doing. And it's really basically an imperative or a mandate for us to be kind to others and to treat others with love. Ahimsa technically means, the A is the opposite, so no or not, and himsa means violence, so technically translates as non-violence. But as even Mr. Anger points out, it's more than a commandment that thou shalt not kill. It embodies a wider, more positive meaning. It's, like I said, an imperative to love. Some yogis, including Anger, interpret this as a mandate to be a vegetarian, but even he notes, and this is a quote, that violence is a state of mind, not a type of diet. And he also further notes that usually violence arises out of fear, restlessness, ignorance, and weakness. And the best antidote from fear and freedom from fear is love. Another one of my teachers translates this yama specifically as compassion for all living things. And compassion means with one heart. It has the same root, compassion as community. And most of us are not running around being physically violent towards others, but we can be violent in the words that we use. Not just towards others, but towards ourselves, and even if just in our thoughts. So that's what we're going to focus on today. I'd like you to go ahead and take a seat, and I want you to close your eyes. And we're going to meditate on how we can be kinder to ourselves and to others, how we can embrace love for all, and how we can embody it. So here we go. I want you to take a deep breath down past your diaphragm into your belly and exhale fully. And again, a deep breath, deep cleansing morning breath, and exhale. And again, this time as you breathe in, I want you to inhale love and exhale fear. And just do that for the next 3 cycles of breath. Inhaling love and exhaling fear. As you sit on your mat with your eyes closed, I want you to consider what kind of unkind, unhelpful, destructive comments do you make towards yourself? And if you were to speak those words to another, if you were even to speak them out loud to yourself, how would they sound? How sharp are your judgments towards yourself? And I would ask you to consider if those judgments are helpful. Do they induce you to do better? Or do they induce you to give up? Or to give in? This time of meditation gives you this space to consider that. So that you can be less reactive to your thoughts. Ahimsa also asks us to consider not just our thoughts, but our words and our actions that inhibit us from living fully and from growing and expanding into our best versions of ourselves. So we want to be pragmatic about our thoughts. And make sure that we're cultivating the ones that will foster the correct actions that we want to take in our lives. And also cultivate the feelings that we want to feel. Not right or wrong feelings, but just the feelings that we want. Because our thoughts create our feelings. And compassion is also a connected feeling with all living beings. So we're going to take another series of breaths. And I want you to breathe in what I feel, you feel. And as you exhale, think what you feel, I feel. So you feel that circle of connectedness. Again, breathing in what I feel, you feel. And breathing out what you feel, I feel. 3 times. Do you have any envy or jealousy towards another that inhibits that sense of connectedness? Or do you feel rage or anger because of something someone else has said or done? Now, yoga does not require that we don't feel those things. We're humans. Of course we feel those things. But sometimes some yogis would think that if they feel those things, they're not in a nirvana and that they're spiritual failures. No. It's rather that we meditate so we can understand the underlying causes of those feelings of anger and jealousy and rage. And by understanding them, we can dissipate them, move beyond them, get underneath them so that they don't control our actions and our lives. Iyengar actually speaks of 2 types of anger, the kind that debases the mind and the one which leads to spiritual growth. And I would add that the former, that debases the mind, is the kind that is reactive to circumstances, where there isn't that moment and pause. And that the one that can lead to spiritual growth happens more easily when we have a consistent meditation practice. When we can move through our lives through the lens of meditation, through the lens that meditation gives us. Because underneath all those challenging feelings is a universal desire to be seen, to be supported, and to be loved. And meditating on compassion can help mitigate that sense of isolation, because we realize we're not alone with our feelings or in our fears specifically. I actually find it helpful to remember that what we know and see about another person's life is truly minuscule compared to what's really going on. It's just the tip of the iceberg. We don't really see what another person is truly struggling with. And that understanding and that perspective can help me cultivate compassion when I feel betrayed or attacked or ignored. And remembering that helps me when I feel anger coming at me. It helps me to understand maybe the feelings behind it, the feelings of fear, and cultivate that feeling of that connectedness, the one heart of compassion. And for me then to be able to be kind in my actions and loving. And here's one other thing I want us to think about today during our meditation, that if the pandemic has taught us anything, the pandemic that we're all living through, it has taught us that our own peace of mind, it must encompass the well-being of others. Again, the root of compassion, same root as community. And communion, actually, for that matter. We're sort of all in this together. And the best portion, as the poem says, Wordsworth's poem says, of a good person's life are his or her little, nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and of love. So take a moment and think about how you can be kind today to yourself or to another. Just pick one thing that you can do, or one person you can reach out to. And go ahead and open your eyes. I want to show you 3 books, some resources. I have many books here that I've been referring to refresh my memory about things that I learned almost 20 years ago. This is, to me, the Bible of yoga. This is Mr. Iyengar's book, Light on Yoga. The 52 pages of the introduction are thick with great info. I've had this for a long time. And a Western sort of interpretation of Iyengar Yoga, which I really enjoy, is this book by Donna Farhi. I like all her books. Bringing Yoga to Life is another really good one. She's got a great chapter in there called The Riptide of Emotions. That's the name of the book that I couldn't remember last week. This has really a great introduction about the yamas and niyamas, but I also think is a great book just generally for yoga. It has fantastic pictures and really good explanations. It really was a labor of love. I did a couple of retreats with Donna back in the early aughts, first time in 2002, and a few others. So this is another well-worn book of mine. And the yamas and niyamas come from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, and in chapter 2, verses 30 and 32. That's where they're laid out. This is like the Bible in verse of yoga, and this is my favorite translation. Alistair Shearer from Sacred Teachings. There are lots of different translations, but I like this one. It's small, also marked up. So I'll put these in the comments below or in the description so that you can check them out yourself. And I look forward tomorrow to talking to you about the next yama, which is truthfulness, satya. Have a great Monday.